Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. I am Padawan J, leading the episode this week because my compatriot in arms slightly under the weather this week.
Yes. What's going on, everybody? See, I got that whole Scotty for shake it up voice going on right now because it is in the Northeast where we record, and the head cold game is very, very strong right now.
I'll say, I know on 607 TWS, Rich said you sound like you smoke packs a day, and while I have to agree with him, it also sounds like you're trying to make a run for a Sam Elliott impression.
Yeah, it's kind of going down that way.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try doing this as much as I can. I apologize to everybody in advance. I might be doing some coughing. I might be doing some sneezing. But fear not. We are still here to give you all the sports and pro wrestling topics that only we can do here at the ODPH, and we definitely want to keep that conversation going. Swing on over to odphpodcast.com for blogs, links, you name it. If it's the ODPH, you can find it all right there. But, Pad, they want to hear some sports talk.
Yeah, so of course, sports, no story or no league bigger right now than that in the NFL because we are in the midst of the NFL playoff season. The Super Bowl is now a mere 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away now. NFL Championship weekend was this past weekend, and of course we got to talk about that. And we're going to start in the order of the games the way they took place, because we're being fair. And the first game that took place was the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia between the Philadelphia Eagles, who defeated the San Francisco 49ers by the final score of 31-7. Jalen Hurts, 15 of 25 for 121 yards passing, no touchdowns or interceptions. Josh Johnson, 7 of 13 for 74 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. Brock Purdy, 4 of 4 for 23 yards passing, no touchdowns or interceptions. And also Christian McCaffrey, 0 of 1 for 0 yards passing, no touchdowns or interceptions. Christian McCaffrey led San Francisco in rushing with 15 carries, 84 yards, 1 touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell led Philadelphia in rushing with 14 carries, 48 yards, no touchdowns. Devontae Smith led Philly in receiving with 2 catches, 36 yards, no touchdowns. And then Deebo Samuel led San Francisco in receiving with 3 catches, 33 yards, 0 touchdowns. And I think I feel safe in saying what everyone was thinking. Damn. Also, I don't think anybody saw this game going this way, but when you have Brock Purdy, only make 4 attempts, 4 completions, went out, I think, on the first series, you knew things were kind of, and I even got the notification on my Apple Watch because I was not able to watch the game as it started. I went, well, this game is over, because I couldn't even tell you who the now 4th string quarterback is for the San Francisco 49ers. We ended up finding out who it is. It was Josh Johnson, and then later in the game, Josh Johnson got hurt. He went out with concussion protocol. So at that point, I'm like, well, shit, who's the emergency quarterback? Because there's no way they're carrying 3 quarterbacks in this game. So who's the emergency at this point? But then I got the notification that Brock Purdy was coming back in the game. Goddamn, impressive as all hell, because as we found out either last night last night as we record, he suffered a UCL tear and is now out for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
So making their offseason all that more interesting because you got to figure out what you're going to do with Trey Lance. Jimmy G is a free agent, but nonetheless, Philly is won the game onto the Super Bowl for the second time in 5-6 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. So certainly an impressive win for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, this was a little wild. I don't think anybody saw this game go in this way. The minute Brock Purdy went out, it was game over.
Oh, yeah.
There was no chance, and we didn't know what it was at the time, the injury.
No.
Because the only thing is, he went out, he was getting treatment on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not going right directly to the locker room,
yeah,
it gets a little confusing like that. You're going, okay, are you coming back in? Because this is the biggest game of your season,
right? With
the exception of if you get to the Super Bowl. So if you have a pulse, you got to be on that field.
Yep.
He didn't. They put in Josh Johnson, who is an adequate backup.
I'll say, dude's been around longer than I remembered.
Yeah, no, he's definitely been a journeyman throughout the league. So he could handle going in for spot duty. Was he going to take over this game? Absolutely not. San Francisco caught lightning in a bottle with Purdy because for being Mr. Irrelevant to a MVP conversation candidate, this was a huge blow, especially to happen so early. This wore out their defense because they were on the field. They could not make a stop on Philly.
Yeah.
Which Jalen Hurts took full advantage of this. And I gotta say, he's got to be in that MVP conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
If he's not the clear-cut front runner.
I think he is now. I think with Lamar missing Lamar had a fire start to the first half of the season, but then he had the injury and he missed basically a half of a season, whatever it ended up being. But no, I think Jalen is clearly, the front runner to win NFL MVP, which if you know stats and you know history with the NFL, he's in the Super Bowl. He wins that NFL MVP. Statistically, not a good likelihood for Philly to win the Super Bowl because historically, if the person who has won the NFL MVP that season is in the Super Bowl, that team has never won the Super Bowl.
Right.
At all. Like Matt Ryan won it, a couple years ago when it was the Patriots against the Falcons in the Super Bowl. Atlanta lost. Brady won it. I think it was one of the years they went to the Super Bowl.
The Giants.
And then they lost.
Yep.
But then on the flip side with San Francisco, who the hell built a voodoo doll against you guys? Like, is your practice facility built on a burial ground? Like, what the fuck? I've never seen this, even in Madden.
Yeah.
Where you get freak injuries or sports video games where you get a freak injury. Like, I remember there was one 2K video game. There's a screenshot of somebody playing one of the 2K basketball video games where it's like, Jimmy Butler will not be in the game tonight. And then in parentheses, the listed reason was like attempted murder in the game. Like the video games get wild with the injuries. But you start with Trey Lance, and Trey Lance is looking great. Goes down week 2, week 3. Okay, right, well, hey, we got Jimmy G. Jimmy G's not bad. Jimmy G goes down. So, hey, we got Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy comes in looking fire. Injury to his UCL. Oh, hey, you know what? Don't worry, we got Josh Johnson. Well, never mind. He's got a concussion. He's out for the game. I mean, it got so bad that it got to the point where there was a 49ers fan on Twitter with the Twitter handle at 49ers Paradise who tweeted, paging Steve Young, and he tagged Steve Young. Are you at the game? I'll buy you a jersey.
Yeah.
To which Steve Young quoted it and said, warming up in the parking lot, let me know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it honestly was a weird situation to see how this all unfold because San Francisco had been so lucky in the face of failure.
And adversity.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. Their entire quarterback carousel was one that, sitting here on the outside looking in, it's astonishing they got this far. And then let alone Purdy was in there, it's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
Josh Johnson was not going to win in a shootout against Hurts.
Oh, hell no.
It was never going to happen.
No.
The best thing they could have done was really run a lot of screens with McCaffrey and Debo, and they would have had a chance. But we have to give credit to Philly because what they did is they established a tempo early. The biggest game shifter, though, I think, was the Devontae Smith catch that didn't get replayed.
Yeah.
And a little confusion of why. I think in that situation,
NFL refs very suspect this weekend.
That's the big narrative from this weekend. Huge. And especially for the home teams. More so the other game than this one. But we'll get into that when we talk about Kansas City and Cincinnati. But for Philly, they did what they needed to do. They were the number 1 seed going in this entire year.
Yep.
I mean, they came out so hot out the gate. They never faltered. And now just was so dominant on both sides of the ball. Like, that's the big takeaway. And like I say, the fact that San Francisco did not make a bigger fuss about the Devontae Smith catch, I thought was a problem. Because in these kinds of games, it's all right to overthink a bit.
Yeah, because at this point, if you don't overthink it or at least look at it and kind of go deep in your head about it, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You lose this game, you're done.
Yeah.
And if you challenge it and it goes your way and you end up winning the game, you look like a genius.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's a timeout early. You burn it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like 2 minutes left in the game.
Right.
So the fact that they were so nonchalant about it, it was just weird watching.
Well, that's Kyle Shanahan for you.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like
Kyle Shanahan in the regular season, not bad.
Right.
Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs, hey.
Yeah. And it was, like I say, that's just the narrative you can take away from this game. Philly was the better team, and they proved it.
Yeah.
The 49ers, had they had a healthy Brock Purdy, would have been a lot different game.
I think it would have been a lot closer. I still think, as good as that defense is, that's a lot to contain on the Philadelphia side for the offense. I mean, between Miles Sanders, who we didn't even mention, 11 carries, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you had a touchdown run from Jalen Hurts, a touchdown run from Boston Scott. So while the receiving game wasn't much, they were just running the ball down their throats.
Yeah. Well, at that point, there is no point.
No.
They were like, okay, we're up big enough. We can put this on cruise control and just kill the clock. Mm-hmm. And that's what they needed to do. I mean, Philly wants to get to that game healthy.
Yeah.
You're already up substantially.
God, yeah.
I mean, even
it was 21-7 at halftime.
Right, but the minute Purdy was gone, and you saw the first series with Josh Johnson. The minute you saw that series, you're like, it's done.
Oh yeah.
It's like I think he just got too caught up in his own head about that.
Could be.
But regardless of the fact, Philly is on their way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Hey, Philadelphia PD, how'd greasing the light poles work?
Yeah.
Hey, Giants fans, how you feeling about the Empire State Building?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
I mean, they do this sometimes. And like when I saw
for your rival.
Yeah, no, they've done it. I mean, I don't think they've ever done it for like the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, I don't think they've ever. But for like major, like when we get to this point in the season, they've done this before. They've done it in years past. Now, have they ever done it for Philly? No, because I think it's a fairly recent thing that they've started doing.
Yeah,
like I don't think they did this the last time around the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. But they've done this before. They've got the capability to do this. So like that, I saw them do this, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is no surprise.
It was a surprise because it's the rival. Like, it's the division. Like, if San Francisco had gotten there, I would have understood.
Well, you know what? Giants fans suck less, and they won't have to put up the colors.
Yo, Pat coming in hot about this one.
Hey, you lost 3 times against them in one season. Just saying.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Just saying. Win one game, and it might be different. Switching over to the other game, which was the AFC Championship, which was between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals in... I won't say Burrowhead because, boy, that got proven otherwise. It was an Arrowhead. You had the Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Cincinnati Bengals by the final score of 23-20. Patrick Mahomes, 29 of 43 for 326 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Joe Burrow, 26 of 41, 270 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Joe Burrow led Cincinnati in rushing with 4 carries, 30 yards, no touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco led Kansas City in rushing with 10 carries, 26 yards, no touchdowns. Marquez Valdez-Scantling led Kansas City in receiving with, 6 catches, 116 yards passing, only 1 touchdown. And T. Higgins led Cincinnati in receiving with 6 catches, 83 yards, and only 1 touchdown.
Well, the easiest way to say this is...
Thanks, refs.
Yeah. We have always said on this podcast, and you can go through the entire catalog, and I hope you do, 5-star review, everything. We do appreciate that. There is something about Kansas City playing at home that is always suspect. Mm-hmm. It always is. Am I saying the fix was in? No. But what I'm saying is...
That home cooking.
There's always something that happens that is very, very questionable that you have to sit and go, okay, what's really going on here?
I mean, we could say differently if they had ever played an AFC championship game outside of their own home stadium, but they haven't. So as of this recording, and whether you're listening to us in 2023, 2024, or 2029, when we record this, they have yet to play. And hey, this is kudos to this is credit to them.
Oh, sure,
it's incredibly hard to make it to the AFC to make it to the Super Bowl this many times in a row. It's incredibly hard to make it to this many conference championship games this many times in a row, and especially to make it to this many conference championships at home this many times in a row. So kudos to them, but still, you just look at the number of championship games they've had in their home stadiums and how many times there's been something that just seems a little suspect. And I'm not saying outright blatant, like 3 blind mice refs.
Right.
But just something like, you know what? That doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah, no. And that's the easiest way to describe this. But I will say this, though. Remember how we said Buffalo played with no emotion? They just kind of went through they were just cycling through.
Yeah.
Cincinnati did the same thing here.
I think also Cincinnati got caught feeling themselves a little bit too much. They got caught in their own hype a little bit because you had the mayor of Cincinnati talking some trash, whether it was him or some people from the team started calling Arrowhead Burrowhead
Yep.
because of the number of times Joe Burrow has beaten the Kansas City Chiefs. They went into their playoffs games prior to this with a chip on their shoulder and us against the world mentality, which, hey, for a lot of teams and a lot of sports works. Go back and
absolutely.
look at some of the teams, that have had that mentality. But I think what hurt them is they didn't keep that mentality. They started feeling themselves a certain type of way because, with Buffalo, it was all the feel-good story of, hey, DeMar Hamlin's here. And we're going to go out, we're going to beat Cincinnati and do this and do X, Y, and Z. And then, we're not even going to factor you into the home playoffs situation with, like, where the game could be played, X, Y, and Z. And they had that chip, and then they started feeling themselves a little bit, and then they got a little cocky.
Yeah. And it definitely showed up that first half.
Yeah.
I think the fact they got it to such a slow start and that offensive line for Cincinnati, which we had always said is very suspect in its own right, played underperformance in that first half.
Yes, I mean, Joe Burrow sacked 5 times.
Yeah. So the fact that was happening, you knew they were in trouble.
And normally, if you have a slow start in the regular season, you might be able to get away with it, depending on who you're playing.
Right.
There's some teams you won't be able to, some teams you will be able to. But when you get to the conference championship of your respective conference, you are playing the best of the best from your conference that season. You cannot make that mistake. You cannot, have a slow start out the gate and like, oh, hey, you know what? There's still 3 other quarters. We can make a recovery. No, every quarter is important. Every minute, every possession is important.
Exactly. And that's why it was so important for them to get back in this game, and they did. Joe Burrow led them down the field. The wide receiver core at Kansas City all just were getting hurt left and right.
Yeah.
And the fact that Valdez-Scantling had the game of his life definitely helped Kansas City because he stepped up in that moment. And you can't say that without his performance, they wouldn't have got there.
I mean, Kansas City had 10 people on the stat line record at least 1 catch, which is a lot.
Oh, it was crazy.
I know Kansas City likes to pass, but that's a lot of dudes.
It's a lot, but Scantling took a full advantage
of
the moment, and this definitely helps him moving forward because Travis Kelce came in a little banged up in his own right, back spasms.
Which happens.
Right, but with Cincinnati keying in on him so much, they made Valdez-Scantling beat him.
Well, because that's the thing that Kansas City's been primarily focused on this year with the loss of
Tyreek Hill
to Miami. They really didn't have another receiver of the Tyreek Hill caliber. So they knew that, like, all right, a lot of teams knew, hey, all right, they got receivers. They've got Valdez-Scantling, as we mentioned. Juju Smith-Schuster is there, although he had a really down year this year, all things considered.
Yeah.
But you got McCole Hardman, who I don't think played until maybe this game this season. I don't remember him popping up on a stat line.
He got hurt, though, early in this game, too, though.
Yeah, he only had 2 catches for 10 yards. But, like, he didn't play much of this year. So it was really the Travis Kelce show and nothing else. And, being a Patriots fan, and when I remember those years when Gronk was the primary focus, they were going at his knees and they were going low and they're trying to chop the sequoia tree down, which you get to this point in the season and you got guys going low and hit you and trying to knock you out all year. You're going to come into this game really banged up.
Yeah.
So this is where you need that good receiving core to step up, and Valdez-Scantling took opportunity because I guarantee you, Reed went to him and said, hey, listen, Kelsey's banged up. I'm going to be real with you. We're going to need you and we're going to need some of the other guys to step up. And Valdez-Scantling, being the gamer he is, all right, coach.
Yeah, no, he definitely played out of his mind. So kudos to him about that.
Yeah.
But I will say where the referees really came into play was the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And I can't close this segment out without talking about this.
Yeah.
There was at least 3 moments that I thought, okay, something's fishy. And we talk about the last 5 minutes of the game. Kansas City is driving down the field. It's a 3-9, and Cincinnati gets a sack.
Right.
So this is putting them right about like the 4-minute mark.
Sure.
All of a sudden, at the top of the screen, somebody comes running in, one of the refs, and saying, "Oh no, you got to reset the time clock."
Sure.
Or something.
Sure.
And nobody heard the whistle. Now, granted, Arrowhead was loud.
It's loud. Yeah.
I'll give you that. But I think even the Kansas City sideline didn't even hear anything go on there.
So Arrowhead, scientifically proven, is the loudest stadium in the NFL.
Right. So the fact that happened after Cincinnati made a dramatic stop, they were going to get the ball back with plenty of time to go down the field and kick a field goal.
Right.
That hurt. And then Mahomes got another quick play in there too, which it was very questionable about. It was a pass interference call.
Right.
That even the announcers and the one analyst was saying, I wouldn't have called that.
Mm-hmm.
I would. That was very, very.
Yeah.
You have to swallow the whistle, especially you've done it all game,
Right.
which we have talked about.
Right.
You got to call it from whistle to whistle.
Yeah.
But the big one, which I know has been making the rounds, and for the wrong reasons too,
Sure.
is the unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, which that's something they got to look at this offseason. Between that and roughing the passer.
Yeah, which I will say this: I felt extremely bad for Joseph Asai.
Mm-hmm.
He was the I believe he plays linebacker for Cincinnati.
Yeah, he does.
And Mahomes, who is running on a bad leg,
Yeah.
and you could see him grimace. In fact, that's what caused that one fumble he had.
Uh-huh.
He was running out of bounds, and the momentum that Osai had, he tapped him.
Yeah.
It wasn't a full shot.
Oh, I know. This happened a couple of years ago when the Patriots were playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and Devin McCourty, I'm using air quotes.
Yeah.
You can't see, but I'm using air quotes, hit Patrick Mahomes, but it wasn't exactly like he lit him up type of hit. He just kind of hit him, and I'm just gonna say it. Mahomes flopped.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a flopper like an NBA player or somebody over in international soccer, but he flopped.
Yeah.
Mahomes is known for this. He doesn't get called out on it because, look at all the trick plays he can do. But
Yeah.
is he a serial flopper? No, but does he have moments of it? Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, you can't deny that. And I agree with that's my opinion of him, too. And I think this worked in his favor. And the fact that they gave an extra 15 yards that late in the game, that was the backbreaker. Cincinnati had fought so hard to come back in this. And then you have that moment taken away by a momentum. It wasn't a late hit for
Right.
unnecessary roughness. Like the foot just went out of bounds. He tried holding up. In fact, he got hurt on the play. And I will say this. I know the video is making the rounds of his teammates calling him out in the locker room.
Right.
I understand the frustration,
Oh, I do too.
but time and place. And guess what? It's not like he tried to hit him late.
No, yeah. Well, and that's the thing too is roughing the passer's got to get looked at this season just because it's swung so far in the one direction of just everything's getting called that the NFL's got to overcorrect itself just because even me, I'm sitting there I can see it in some instances, but there were more instances than not that I'm like, I don't think that's roughing the passer.
No, you have to be very clear and defined about what that definition is.
Now, if we're talking somebody doing like Brock Lesnar in WWE,
Oh, yeah, sure,
suplex
sure.
like that's absolutely roughing the passer. But if it's like, hey, they tapped him and the quarterback, because of the momentum of them, dropping back and they fell over, that's not roughing the passer.
Exactly. There's no point of trying to even do that. And the fact that this guy got called for it, and that was such a game changer, literally.
Oh, yeah.
You can't say otherwise. So, unfortunately, Cincinnati wound up losing. But Kansas City did what Kansas City does best. Mm-hmm. They win at home. Now, the Super Bowl is set.
Yes.
It's now going to be 2 weeks of hearing about Jason versus Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody's ready to hear that ad nauseum.
And especially because it's the first time in NFL history you've had two brothers playing each other in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I guarantee you there will be a news story every day about this.
Probably, especially when Media Day rolls around, which Media Day is always a circus with the NFL. I mean, let's not forget there was the one year the Patriots played the Super Bowl and somebody asked Brady to marry her in a wedding dress.
Yep.
It's all sorts of bonkers, but that's gonna be a big thing, and stories on every news network and both regular cable news and sports news. But the game's taking place Sunday, February 12th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Currently, as we record, the line is Philadelphia by 1.5, and the over/under is 49.5.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
And then one thing, too, if you are betting on this, just keep an eye on the lines.
Yeah.
They do fluctuate
Yeah, they
a
do.
lot.
Especially more so. They'll fluctuate a little bit between now and this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
But after this coming Sunday, when it gets closer and closer, they're going to really start fluctuating because that's when the big money's going to start coming in.
Exactly. So if you're sold on an odd, not encouraging you, but just putting this out there. If you're sold on an odd, get your bet in early.
Yeah.
And only bet what you can afford to lose.
Yeah, really. Don't put it in any more than you're willing to lose.
Exactly. We do like to stress that because I know we were having some listeners hit us up and be like, yeah, let's talk about the lines a lot.
We don't want to be held responsible for like any divorced marriages because you bet you bet the amount your mortgage on your house is on this game and you lost.
Exactly. Bet what you can afford to lose without losing your home or anything else.
Yeah.
But that said, the Super Bowl is now set. Hit us up on that hashtag ODPHpod. What is your thoughts about the conference games in the AFC and NFC? We definitely want to have that conversation. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey all, I'm Frank. Join me and my friends as we talk about all things geek. Here at Geek Freaks Podcast, we go over the weekly news of everything in geekdom, from movies to TV, to video games, and comic books. We also have a growing YouTube community. Join us as we go over everything in your geek life and share in the love of geekdom.
Coming back for another segment here on the ODPH podcast, and it's time to talk a little wrestling.
Wrestling.
Because this past weekend was the start to the roads to WrestleMania.
I like what you did there, man.
Thank you.
I like it.
Road to WrestleMania because, as everyone knows, this past Saturday was the WWE pay-per-view or premium live event of the Royal Rumble, which took place, of course, at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. But before we get into that, there's a little something that dropped the day of the Royal Rumble on social media because the WWE 2K23 video game's getting ready to come out very soon. We know that the cover is going to be a blank space because John Cena is on the cover of it. he's even made a joke to it in the ad promo for it. Go check it out. It's a funny video. But of course, they're starting to make the rounds, and some of the more prominent wrestlers featured in the game were doing some Q&A and some press for the event. And Nick Houseman was doing an interview with Seth Rollins, and the subject of Phil Brooks came up, also known as one CM Punk, because as everyone knows, still currently technically under contract with the folks over at AEW, but in all likelihood, that seems like it's going to be over and done with at some point, whether it's a buyout.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah, whether it's a buyout or they just let him sit at home and get paid until his contract expires. But Nick Houseman did ask, hey, I know you've had some barn burners with CM Punk over the years. Do you want to see him come back to WWE? And Seth Rollins said, and I quote, "Oh, Philly Phil, stay away, you cancer. Get away from me forever. Yeah, I don't like Phil. He's a jerk. Did we just figure that out? Everyone in the room is like, oh no, did he say that? Yeah, no, he's a jerk. Come on. We figured it out over there. We knew it over here. I don't want him back. Go do something else. Bye-bye. See you later." Close quote. Now, whether this was in character or not, it was absolutely not in character. He used the voice of the character, but I think this was in fact a 100% shoot how he actually feels. Because while I think it is possible for him to have respect for him as a performer, I think for him as a human being, Seth Rollins is not a fan.
No. I mean, as much as we talk about CM Punk's wrestling ability, he is a very polarizing guy outside of the ring. Mm-hmm. And there is quite a vocal contingent of performers that do not like him. And Seth has always been one of them. So the fact that reporter asked him about it, well, I love the answer.
Yeah, I do too.
Because
Seth could have taken the diplomatic approach, and probably an approach that a lot of people would have done as well. I don't really want to speculate on that. He's under contract with the folks over at the other federation, and who knows what his plans are. I don't want to speak for him, but if he ends up doing that, hey, more power to him. No, he didn't go the diplomatic approach. He basically went, no, fuck you, stay away.
Yeah, and you know what? It was smart because the more I listen to that quote, the more I laugh. Mm-hmm. It's not good for my throat. But it also sends a message.
Mm-hmm. This is how at least one person, and what I would imagine is one of the locker room leaders feels.
And exactly. And I think that's a very loud statement to anybody thinking he'd be welcomed back with open arms.
Nope.
I think if anything, they'll let him do an interview segment and send him on the way.
Yep.
But other than that, I think this is very telling
Oh, yeah.
of the temp of the WWE locker room heading into the roads to WrestleMania, like Pat put so eloquently.
Thank you. Now, speaking about the Royal Rumble, we've got some records to talk about because it was a record weekend for WWE in every sense of the word. Reading from an article on Forbes.com, some of the highlights from this past weekend in the records, there was a $7.7 million gate, which is an all-time gate record for the Royal Rumble event. Merchandise sales were up 135%, which is also an all-time record for the Royal Rumble. I know Triple H said in the post-card press conference that somebody asked him, well, what's one of the things you learned from this year for next year? And he said, bring more merch because we sold out on day one. So merchandise is up, and I know Cody Rhodes. I saw Cody Rhodes tweeted about it. Hey, listen, they're going to have the store restocked tomorrow. So hey, merchandise is up. Sponsorship revenue was up 200%, which was also ongoing theme here, an all-time Royal Rumble record. Over 20 million views across all WWE platforms for Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn videos. And then over 26.5 million views across WWE and Logan Paul's platforms for their high-flying springboard spot between Logan Paul and Ricochet. And also of note, while I don't think anything has been officially said, I think it's been reported that the viewership for this on Peacock was the highest viewed pay-per-view in the company's history on Peacock.
Correct.
So a lot of eyes interested in this, a lot of people looking forward to it and checking it out. So we're going to get into some of the card and break down what happened. And starting off, we have a little bit of a surprise. We started off with the 30-man Royal Rumble match, the men's Royal Rumble match. Went 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 42 seconds. Cody Rhodes emerged victorious, eliminating Gunther, who entered at number 1. To win. So Cody is your winner of the men's Royal Rumble match, and shout out to Gunther because he broke the traditional 30-man record for the Royal Rumble. I think Daniel Bryan is technically longer because it was the 40 or 50-man, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, it was the greatest Rumble ever.
Greatest Royal Rumble. Yeah, Daniel Bryan's technically longer, but that's when it was 50. So of course, but Gunther, the official longest entrant in the Royal Rumble, traditional Royal Rumble history. And you know what? For the entrance, went kind of the way I thought it would. Gunther and Sheamus starting off very good and very strong. Hold your teeth in. But nothing too crazy. We didn't get a Kofi spot this year, but you know what? I'm fine with that.
Well, he botched it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the one. He went to the chair to the outside, and the chair kind of collapsed.
Right. Yeah, and he had his one. They were trying to sell it that like, oh no, he's good. His 1 foot is still in.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. He tried it again. So the second year in a row, which I mean, it's awful to see that because he always comes up with these really creative ways to get back in the match after he's been thrown out.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, this was a really good men's Royal Rumble. One of the best matches they've had.
Oh, better than the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think you have to really take a look at a few superstars in this match and see their breakout performances.
Yes.
The first one is not Cody Rhodes. It's Gunther.
Yes.
And if you are not sold on how high his stock is with WWE after this, I don't know what to tell you. They see a main eventer in him, and rightfully so. Masterful performance, and I don't doubt that he has a very big name to face at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say right now it'll probably be Drew McIntyre. That's my early guess. But I thought the performance he did was really take advantage of the moment he was in and really told a great story.
Oh, yeah.
I also thought Logan Paul, love him or hate him, he makes the needle move.
He does.
And that is what you want if you are a wrestling company. You want people to generate social media buzz. You want to have casual fans talking. It all adds up to revenue. It all adds up to views. It all adds up to stuff you can spin out to other places. Mm-hmm. Logan Paul does that. And the fact that him and Ricochet did that spot.
Yeah.
And I understand there's some criticism on the internet about, it's already been done before. Listen, wrestling has been around for how many years now?
A long time.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of duplication and borrowing.
At this point, there's not a lot left that hasn't been done.
Exactly. So I just thought it was a cool thing to see Logan, who we don't really appreciate for how athletic he is.
Right.
Doing that spot with Ricochet, who is a highlight reel every time he takes.
Oh, yeah. Well-known high flyer.
A step to the ring. So to see that was a moment that everybody stood out and really paid attention to. Mm-hmm. And then Cody Rhodes coming in.
Yeah, well, a couple of other ones are surprised. Johnny Gargano making the return.
Yeah,
wasn't quite sure he was going to be able to make it because of the injury, but he did in fact make it back in. Also of note, Brock Lesnar coming in and lasting 2 minutes and 28 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Because he was eliminated by Bobby Lashley. So clearly, we're going to get a Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania. Although I will say they did tease a little bit Brock Lesnar versus Gunther, to which I say, fucking give it to me.
Oh yeah,
holy shit! So that was good. Also you had Rey Mysterio technically enter, but he never showed up. And I know everyone online's going, "Well, Cody didn't eliminate 30 people. Rey Mysterio never entered. So that means the Bloodline's going to come back with that, and that's why he's not going to be able to challenge Roman because he's gonna face somebody from the Bloodline and lose, and so Cody won't be the men's Royal Rumble." Stop doing mental gymnastics and jumping through hoops just to make your own narrative work. You're going to get pissed off when it doesn't happen. He never showed up, and there is precedent for this because, as you pointed out, I didn't know this. I was a little confused. You pointed out that there was a match, there was one at the Rumble, and what was it, 91?
I want to say it was 91.
91, and there's been other ones, though, but Randy Savage was not able to answer the call, I guess you could say, or he did not come out before the next entrance, so when that happens, you forfeit your spot, and you're eliminated.
Yeah, it's basically like how in the NFL draft, if you don't get your pick to the podium in time, you lose it, and then usually they just keep sliding you back.
Yep.
In WWE, they just take your spot away.
Yep. So clearly, as shown, he was taken out by Dominic Mysterio. Mysterio came out with the mask, although, as everyone pointed out, Dominic Mysterio can't even tear a mask.
I don't even want to get into how bad he is.
Yeah.
He is awful.
Yeah, he is. Booker T was the lone, I guess you could say, returning Hall of Famer, showing up and getting eliminated 42 seconds in by Gunther. And listen, I know people are kind of giving some flack about it, but Booker T did talk about this. Saying, "quote I want to thank everybody everybody in the arena at the Alamo Dome for showing the old man some love. It was off the chains. It was electrifying. It was pandemonium. It was unbelievable. I got to thank all of those guys that were in the Royal Rumble for just letting me participate and getting to go back and see what that feels like just one more time and just walk that aisle. I must say it was an awesome, awesome time. I was sitting at the table at the kickoff show and I got a text message. It was the invite telling me, Book, you're in the Rumble. I'm old school. I went down in the Winnebago. Something told me, bring your gear. Make sure you are ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready." And boom, there it was. The text message came through and I said, okay, here we go. I think Ray went down and I think they had to fill that spot, close quote. But then he did say, Gunther did an awesome job of making history as well. That guy is going to be a major player here in WWE for a long time. And he basically said, hey, because people are like, oh, you got jobbed out by Gunther. He did say, quote, "Let me just say this. I want to say this publicly just so everybody can hear me. I would rather be jobbed out by Gunther than Gunther be jobbed out by me any day of the week," close quote.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. One thing wrestling fans need to realize here. Booker T is a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. He is not going to be coming. He's not coming back on a regular basis.
No, God, no.
This was a nostalgia moment. Being the event, it was in Texas.
Well, and he's also, you think about it, one of the few guys they have left from Texas that can go.
Yeah.
I mean, Stone Cold in wrestling shape, but according to reports, he's been given multiple offers to appear at WrestleMania. He's turned them all down. So Stone Cold wasn't showing up.
Right.
Undertaker's retired.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels has said he's retired.
Yep.
Mark Henry, we know, was at a watch party with some other wrestlers, including some folks from AEW, so Mark Henry wasn't going
to. Well, he's AEW signed, so.
Right, so Mark Henry ain't going to show up. So the list of guys they have available from Texas anymore, a little slim.
It's slim, but at the same time, okay. So Booker T eliminated 8 people. Just throwing the number out.
Sure.
Where does that get the talent that's still going to be wrestling after Saturday?
That gets them nowhere.
Exactly. So the fact that Booker can put over Gunther by allowing him to eliminate him, that's a big deal. And that goes into creating stars for the future, passing it forward.
Mm-hmm.
So for fans that were losing their minds about it, stop.
Well, and also to the fans that are like, oh, they're complaining there weren't enough surprise returns.
Yeah, that was there too.
I mean, listen, it would make sense from a nostalgia purpose, but the roster is so loaded at this point, you don't really need it.
Right.
It makes sense if you got kind of a light roster, you got a bunch of guys unfortunately out with injury, and you're not going to be able to. But this roster is loaded. I mean, I'm not going to run through the entire list of folks that were in this Rumble, but just a couple of names of note that did not make it. Luke Gallows was not in this Rumble. Carl Anderson was not in this. Was not in this match. Dolph Ziggler was not in this match, and
surprising.
This is his first Rumble match he's missed in like 10 years.
Yeah,
So and I can go through a whole bunch more, but those are just some of the major names that weren't even on this thing. So when you've already got it packed to the gills with folks from your main roster, and to the point where some of them are not making it onto the show, where the hell are you going to fit in some of these extra guys?
Yeah,
So I understand people's frustration, but when the match is good, you don't need those nostalgia guys. For me, if you know the match isn't going to be that good because you got a bunch of injuries, sure, fill it up with some of those comeback guys. But let's face it, what has it been the last couple of years? Hurricane Helms twice, Carlito.
Yeah,
all right, that's fine and dandy, but what did you get out of it? You really didn't get much.
Yeah. You only get a quick pop from the crowd, but they were already excited to be there, so you didn't need to do anything special for it. You needed to build up the stars you have, and that's what they really focused on. And I thought they did a great job in both matches.
Yeah. Edge, of course, did make his return. Eliminated after only 1 minute and 4 seconds by Finn Balor. But hey, listen, we knew this was coming.
Exactly.
This is nothing surprise. Although, shout out to his wife, Beth Phoenix, for showing up after they started brawling on the stage between the members of Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley showed up, attacked Edge, and then Beth Phoenix came out and gave Rhea Ripley a spear. A hell of a moment, a hell of a spot there. As you mentioned, we did have Logan Paul return at number 9. Wrestled 10 minutes and 57 seconds, which, hey, for a guy coming off an ACL tear, not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Had that awesome moment with Ricochet. If you have not seen, go check it out. And then entry number 30 was, of course, the highly questioned one. Is it going to be Rock? Is it going to be Stone Cold? Is it going to be John Cena? No, it was Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes ended up wrestling for 15 minutes and 8 seconds, eliminating 5 people, and then eliminating, as I mentioned before, Gunther to become the men's Royal Rumble winner. And, of course, he's going to be challenging Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship at WrestleMania. As of this recording, that is how it is being phrased. So whether it sounds like for right now, it's going to be for both belts, but there's a lot of time in between now and WrestleMania. So something could change that it ends up only being for one belt. But as of this recording, it's for both.
Yeah, something could change, but I don't see them doing any changes till after Mania, to be honest with you.
Next up was the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, where Bray Wyatt defeated LA Knight via pinfall in 5 minutes and 5 seconds. And of course, as we mentioned last week, we had no idea what the fuck this match was going to be.
Right.
Obviously it's sponsored by Mountain Dew Pitch Black, which they brought back. So we all figured out it's going to be a lights out match. And it kind of was, but it was a lights out match with neon lights, which gave for, admittedly, it was a cool effect.
It was a cool effect.
It was a cool effect. You had the neon gear on by the two guys. Bray's face had neon paint on it, which lit up. It was it the best match of all time I've ever seen? No. Was it what it needed to be? Sure.
Yeah.
It was fun. I understand why some of the folks in the crowd might not have liked it because, if you're sitting at a spot where you can't exactly see the screen all that well, some of the stuff might have been lost on you, but it was what it was, and it was fine.
They just wanted Hardy.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, it was what it was because you just needed to progress Bray's character. Mm-hmm. We knew this was not going to be a classic. This was going to be something for entertainment.
Yeah.
It served its purpose and moved the storyline along. I thought the visual effects for the home crowd was great. And if you were there live, you probably didn't get that much of an effect to it.
Right.
I thought the Uncle Howdy stuff was just unnecessary, but that's me.
Yeah.
And especially he missed LA Knight, so I'm fully convinced he's Darby Allin. He's a kid. I kid.
Well, I think that was a deliberate thing, but I don't agree with exactly how they went about showing it because it was very evident from the camera angle he missed.
Yeah. So it is what it is, but it served its purpose.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
Next up was the Women's Royal Rumble match. We had Rhea Ripley win, going wire to wire, becoming the first woman in the Women's Royal Rumble history to go wire to wire to win. The match lasted 1 hour, 1 minute, and 3 seconds. I got to give a shout out to Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan because they both went wire to wire, although Rhea Ripley 1 second longer because Liv was the last person eliminated. A couple of surprises with this one. You did have Roxanne Perez from NXT make an appearance. She was eliminated by all 3 members of the Damage Control, eliminated after just 4 minutes and 34 seconds. And I know some folks were wondering, that was a little short for her. Got a little thing coming this Saturday called Vengeance Day. The next NXT.
You know what? Didn't even put that together.
Yeah, I know some people online were complaining. Oh, that was really short
that makes sense.
for the NXT Women's Champion. Why is it so short? She's got a matchup this Saturday.
That actually makes perfect sense.
They don't want her getting hurt before that match. A couple other ones. You had Zoe Stark from NXT showed up. Was eliminated by Sonya Deville. Did last almost a half hour, 26 minutes and 34 seconds. So definitely a great showing from her. You also had Chelsea Green make her return, eliminated in just 5 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, what else can you say about that one?
Yeah, she did, however, show up on Monday Night Raw with her new character gimmick, and the rumors online were true. She's playing a Karen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah, she's gonna run with this one.
Yes, she is. Got a note. Zelina Vega did showing up as a character from was it Street Fighter 6, and it was announced that she's going to be one of the announcers.
Yes.
In the video game. You know, one of the people who commentate the fights. So that's freaking awesome.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome. You did have Michelle McCool show up in the match, and possibly the coolest entry of the whole weekend, because she was sitting front row behind the commentators with her daughters. Her music hits, and she's like, "Wait, what?" And her daughter goes, "Ma, get in there, Ma." And she takes off her jacket, goes, "All right." She hops the barricade, gets in the ring, and then proceeds to wrestle for 13 minutes and 53 seconds in Uggs.
Yeah. It was wild, but it did what it needed to do for her. It was a good surprise. It definitely got the crowd back into it. You know, no real issues with that one.
No. And then the second to last surprise entrant was from NXT, and that was Indy Hartwell making her Rumble debut. She was eliminated by Sonya Deville in 4 minutes and 51 seconds. But hey, good to see Indy wrestling on the main roster. Fun little video that was taped backstage. She talked about her experience. I know it's on the NXT Twitter page if you go and look it up over there. But she was talking about that, and she got to meet her trainer. It was one Baby Wrestling, and she fired Baby Wrestling because she goes, "Oh, you're fired. I didn't win the Rumble." And Candice LeRae goes, You can't fire. She kept it kayfabe. She's like, "You can't fire your brother. You know, then you come back next year." So then a couple other ones. Lastly, and certainly not leastly, maybe leastly, number 30 was Nia Jax.
Next.
Well, she was eliminated in 1 minute and 57 seconds by Asuka, Lacey Evans, Liv Morgan, Mia Yim, Michelle McCool, Nikki Cross, Piper Niven. That's another one we got to know. Piper Niven was back as Piper Niven,
Thank God.
not Dewdrop.
Yeah.
Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Shotzi, and Sonya Deville.
Yeah, no. It served its purpose for what it needed to. The only thing I thought was scary for her, she went dead weight for Rhea.
Yes, she did.
That was not a good look.
Yes, she did.
In my opinion, that was not a smart plan.
So, a little comfort, at least of this recording, to some folks who are afraid she might be re-signed. Don't think it's the case. I know she's got the shirt on the shop, and everyone's like, "Oh, that means she's re-signed." They put a Rock shirt on the shop, and he never showed up. You know, but the other thing too is there was a poster posted on social media for an event she's going to be attending here in the next couple of weeks. It says, formerly known as. On the event. So she's still taking bookings for indie stuff under her actual name with the formerly known as, and also as of this recording on the WWE website under the Superstar section, she's still in the alumni section. So maybe they just needed a body to fill, and she was available.
I mean, it makes sense in that concern in that aspect. Yeah, it makes sense.
So at least as of this recording, that was a one-time appearance. She's not re-signed, but hey, things could change.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt seeing her getting re-signed. I'm just not a super big fan of her stuff.
I know some people are not thrilled about it because Zelina Vega did post a thing to, I believe it was her TikTok, basically how when you get put in a room with somebody who is very opinionated about their thoughts and views, and that was not hard to figure out who she was talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
So I know the folks backstage probably weren't thrilled about it, but it does appear to, at least at this point, to be a one-off.
Right.
So Rhea Ripley is your Women's Royal Rumble winner, and announced last night on Monday Night Raw as we recorded that she's going to be facing Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, because she said, "Hey, listen, I faced Charlotte a couple years ago at WrestleMania for the NXT Women's Championship, and she beat me. I've never beaten Charlotte." And the other thing she pointed out too, I think it was at the press conference, if she wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, she becomes a Grand Slam champion.
Correct.
So it will be Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
It's a much better storyline.
Yes.
And especially, I know we didn't talk about Bianca and Alexa Bliss. There wasn't really anything to talk about there. It was a short match because Bianca is taking the belt to Mania.
Yeah.
The only thing that was going to be happening there was Uncle Howdy was going to be possessing Alexa.
Well, and especially too that match and that feud was a one-off, and I'll get to what's going to happen with the Raw Women's belt here in a minute. But so yeah, that match happened. Just to give him credit, Bianca did defeat Alexa Bliss in 7 minutes 35 seconds. But for the women's Rumble match, if I had to rank the two Rumble matches, I'd say the women's was slightly better.
I love the women's one. The ending.
The ending was nuts because you had You had Liv, Rhea, and Asuka all on the apron.
Crazy clown face Asuka.
Crazy clown face Asuka. Batshit crazy Asuka's back. Showed up on Raw last night as crazy Asuka, wearing the weirdest combination of suit jacket and colors I've ever seen on any human being.
Yeah.
And was talking to I forget who she was.
Carmella?
Yes, she was talking to Carmella because Carmella's back and it looks like she's going to be on Raw now. She was talking to Carmella and Carmella's talking on her smack and like, oh, I'm Mella. Mella is money and all this other stuff. And Asuka's just looking at her. And Asuka just smiles. And her teeth are like blue or green or something. And then some of the liquid that she uses to spray the mist starts leaking out of her mouth. Starts leaking out of her mouth.
Straight out of a horror movie.
Holy shit, it was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to see. And Asuka coming back too was a big moment too, and especially for that ending where you had Liv, Rhea, and Asuka on the apron. And Asuka went to mist Rhea. Rhea ducks out of the way. Liv gets hit with it.
Yep.
Rhea does a leg sweep and gets Asuka off the ring post after she got a great performance there at the Rumble too. And then Rhea is basically hanging on to the top rope
for dear life
because she slips up. And you see Liv is blinded and she can't even see where Rhea is.
Almost pulled it off,
which did great drama. And then you see a head scissors to get Liv off the apron to end the match. And you know what? Honestly, I love the idea of doing Rhea and Charlotte with the story. It's much better than doing Rhea and Bianca because we've already done that before.
Right.
With the storyline of the Grand Slam Championship, it sells it a lot better. The Bianca, now I'm just kind of curious who she's going to be facing at Mania.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. We'll mention that because that is going to tie into what happens. It's going to happen at Elimination Chamber. But getting back to this match, great match overall. Loved it. Loved everything about it. And then lastly, and certainly not leastly, the main event of the evening was in a singles matchup for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Throw that index finger up in the sky between Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn in his corner. Because as was said on the pre-show, Roman Reigns not thrilled with Sami Zayn. You're sticking by me. You're sticking by my side the whole night, which should have clued folks in very early that he was not going to show up in the Rumble.
Yep.
But taking on Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns emerged victorious, pinning Kevin Owens in 19 minutes and 15 seconds to retain his undisputed Universal Championship. But not about the match that happened. It's what happened afterwards that everyone's talking about. So afterwards, Sammy ate the pin. I keep saying Sammy. Kevin ate the pinfall, and then the bloodlines all comes out. And then, they all start super kicking Kevin Owens. And it's like an absurd amount of times they start super kicking him. Like, it was like one.
He got to be uncomfortable.
It was Jimmy kicked him. Jay kicked him. Jimmy kicked him. Jay kicked him. I know you said on 607 TWS that it reminded you of the Young Bucks super kicks at ROH where there was the counter. You're not wrong. I had the same vibe off of it thinking about it. But so they do that. Then they get a pair of handcuffs and they handcuff both of Kevin's wrists to the ring ropes. So he's just kind of sitting there with his arms restrained. And all the meanwhile this is going on, you can see Sammy getting more and more and more uncomfortable with this. And there's a couple of times like he wants to step in and say, no, "Stop! Don't do this. Why are we doing this?" And he kind of stops himself. So then they go to attack him. Roman says, "Hey, give me a chair. Give me a chair." So somebody, whether it was the Usos or Solo, I forget who it was. They go out. They go to the timekeeper's area. They get him a chair. And they bring back a chair. Roman wants to go attack Kevin. And Sammy steps in and says, "Hey, listen, stop. This is beneath you. This is not what you do. He's beaten. He's done with. Let's just move on." And Roman paused. And the instant he paused, I knew. I was like, he's going to make Sammy do it. And sure as shit, he hands Sammy the chair and goes, "Fine. You take care of it. You take him out." And Sammy can't do it. He's sitting there. He's pausing. He's like, he's really thinking about it. And Roman's like, "Come on. Pull the trigger. Do it. Pull the trigger." And Sammy just can't do it. So finally Roman steps in front of him. And you can see Sammy then wind up, swing the chair, hit Roman in the back. Roman falls almost the exact same way he did when Seth Rollins hit him with the chair. But Sami Zayn has officially turned his back on the bloodline. He looks at the Usos and he says, listen, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. I had to do what I had to do. So then they go and they start beating up on Sammy. And what was it? Was it Jimmy or Jay? I can't remember which one it was. One of the Uso brothers, can't do it. He goes, no, I can't.
Oh, it was Jay?
It was Jay.
Jay.
Jay can't. He's like, I can't do it. I'm not going to tag him. And he leaves, and with Jimmy going, what are you doing, bro? We're family. This is blood. He's not family. He's not blood. And he goes walking up the ring, holding back tears, and he posted a message on social media later, with the photo of the two of them, said, run it back. So will we get Jay versus, Roman again? Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. But so you had the two of them, both Kevin and Sammy were laid out. But the one thing of note I want to point out that I don't see a lot, I see a couple people talking about it, but not enough, and you almost couldn't pick up on it because Michael Cole was talking about it, but it's when the little graphic at the bottom right, the copyright popped up. Roman did say to Solo, he said to Solo, we're at war now. It's time for blood.
Yeah. First and foremost, this whole segment was cinema.
Uh-huh.
Top to bottom. The emotions, and this is why it's so important, like whether you hear us talk about it on the ODPH or 607 TWS. This is why storylines matter so much in televised wrestling. When you connect with an audience, like Sami Zayn has done, which he was supposed to be a throwaway character in this storyline.
Yep.
You now have an audience that is so connected and captivated by his dynamic with Jey Uso, with Roman Reigns, with Kevin Owens, who's been his lifelong friend. It just poured out on screen that the buildup was here and how Roman has slowly been seeding this jealousy for him, and even to the point where Sammy jumped in the way and said, you're below this, or you're above this. You don't need to do this. This is below you. And he's like, yeah, you do it now. And you can see how he starts, face planting him. Mm-hmm. You can see the build that, for everything that Sammy's had to go through, where Roman has been the one doubting him, to see him turn his back. And that's why Jay is so conflicted. Mm-hmm. And Jey Uso was the main event or the MVP of this segment.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because he was like, I can't do this because he's been won over by Sammy.
Yeah.
And what Sammy has done for him.
Yeah.
And gone out of his way to win him over.
Yeah.
Like, that's the craziest thing about it.
This whole angle has given Roman nuclear heat that he has not seen since the night after WrestleMania where he beat Taker.
Yeah.
Where if you have not seen that clip, highly recommend you go to YouTube and check it out. If you got Peacock, go look it up. It's after WrestleMania 33, I want to say.
I think so.
Where Roman beat Undertaker at WrestleMania, came out, opened up Raw the next night, and for 15 minutes stood in the ring, said 4 words.
Yep.
It's my yard now. At the end of the 15 minutes, but for that entire 15 minutes, every time he rose the mic to try and say something, the crowd would start booing.
Yep.
And the crowd would start chanting, and every possible expletive was uttered at Roman, including "fuck you, Roman."
Yep.
Which he heard tonight or Saturday night at the Royal Rumble, but this has given him nuclear heat he has not had since the night after WrestleMania 33. Which this is going to be incredible to watch. Now, was the segment, the whole post thing, a little too long? Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, it was.
It told a story, and the story was phenomenal, but the match got over at like 12:05, 12:10 Eastern, which that went long because they decided to throw a concert in the middle of it at 11:30. Why, I have no goddamn idea, but that was a poor idea. But then it proceeded, the whole thing didn't get over until almost 12:30. So was it a little long in the tooth? Yeah, a little bit, for what it was. It was, after midnight on Eastern on a Sunday, on the East Coast. But was the story incredible? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, no. It was the perfect way to end the story right now.
Yeah.
And start the new chapter going into Mania. You couldn't have planned it any better.
Yeah.
The crowd was eating it up. The, fuck you, Roman chants were absolutely nuclear.
There's a video going around on social media. I know it was on the Squared Circle subreddit, but I'm sure it's probably going around TikTok, Twitter, everywhere else. But somebody who was in the front row at a kind of a diagonal angle still had a shot of the commentary team, which we got to give a shout out to the commentary team. They kept it, the crew backstage kept it secret to Michael Cole and Corey Graves that Pat McAfee was going to be there, which that was their genuine reactions, because Michael Cole said on the Pat McAfee show, we had no idea you were going to show. So I'm prepping with Corey for the day for just a 2-man announce team. Please, WWE, if you were listening to us, make that 3-man team the permanent 3-man team for all pay-per-views going forward, because the chemistry they have between the 3 of them,
Oh, yeah.
chef's kiss. That was incredible.
It was amazing.
But when the crowd was chanting, fuck you, Roman, there's a video going around where somebody took a video. I don't know why they were doing this, but hey, kudos to you, was videoing with their phone what the commentary team was doing while this was going on. And Graves and Cole don't really react to it because they're used to it. Cole's heard it before after WrestleMania 33. But the instant the crowd starts chanting, fuck you, Roman, the first time they say it, Pat doesn't really react to it, but he can tell they're saying something. And then the second time they say, fuck you, Roman, there's a genuine shocked, expression and body motion on Pat's face. Like he can't believe what's being said.
Yeah. Overall, I think everything they did for this really set the tone for Mania. Mm-hmm. And now the Elimination Chamber has become a must-watch pay-per-view.
Absolutely. Now, current rumor is, and I say rumor, is it's going to be Roman versus Sami Zayn at the Elimination Chamber. 2 matches we do know are going to take place. Those were announced both last night by Adam Pearce on Monday Night Raw, is that one of the Elimination Chamber matches is going to be for the WWE United States Championship. Okay. Traditionally in the past, it's been for one of the belts. Whoever wins the Rumble challenges for one belt. Elimination Chamber, you go to challenge for the other belt. Well, not the case because, both belts are getting challenged by the Royal Rumble winner. So it's going to be for the U.S. Championship. Austin Theory, the champion, will be in the Elimination Chamber match of the other announced entrants we know of, because they had 3 matches on Raw last night. There were qualifying matches for this event. The other 2 other participants we know of are Seth freaking Rollins, Bronson Reed, and Johnny Gargano. There's 2 other wrestlers that are to be determined. We'll find those out at a later date. Those are going to be qualifying matches on the February 6th episode of Raw. Those are going to be between Angelo Dawkins and Damian Priest, and Elias versus Montez Ford. So that's going to be one of the Elimination Chamber matches, and then also announced by Adam Pearce on Monday Night Raw, because Rhea Ripley is challenging Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. They got to figure out who Bianca Belair's challenger is going to be at WrestleMania. So the other Elimination Chamber match is going to be for a match against the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania, and your participants thus far are Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, and 2 wrestlers to be determined. And the the 5th spot in the women's chamber match will be decided in a fatal 4-way match on the February 6th episode of Monday Night Raw between Candice LeRae, Carmella, Mia Yim, and Piper Niven. Yeah.
That's a great match too.
Uh-huh.
I tell you what, I like Liv.
I do too.
I don't doubt Liv sneaking in there. But I would love to see Asuka. But I think Asuka is going to take on Alexa Bliss.
Probably.
But I'll make that early prediction right now. I think that's going to be Liv Morgan's match.
I think so.
That'll be a hell of a match, too.
Oh, yeah.
Bianca.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that'll be great.
Oh, God, yeah. The other thing, too, that February 6th, so you've got the 2 matches for the final 2 spots in the men's chamber match. You've got the fatal 4-way match for the one of the 2 spots left in the women's chamber match. The other one, too, is they're going to do Becky versus Bayley in the steel cage match.
Oh, the one they meant to do on
Raw 30, but got cut for time.
Yeah.
Becky came out Bayley came out for a second time because Io Sky had a matchup earlier in the night against Candice LeRae where Io picked up the victory. Bayley came back out to kind of shit all over Tulsa, Oklahoma and talk, and Becky came out and was like, hey, we never had our match in the steel cage match because you're a little bitch, and it got real heated and maybe a little few shoot words because Bayley didn't call her Becky in the little exchange. She called her Rebecca. Yeah, so if you haven't seen that exchange, definitely go on YouTube and check out that exchange. But she's like, hey, I want to fight you, steel cage match, next week on Raw. And Bayley's like, no, why would I do that? I got no reason to do that. And she's like, Becky goes, I had a feeling you'd say that. Hold on, I'll be right back. And she drops her mic. She goes backstage, but they don't cut to backstage. They stay out in the arena. And Bayley goes, oh, of course, she's going to get more excuses. Always got to come up with excuses. Why she can't do this, why she can't do that. Probably an excuse why we should have the match. She came out with an excuse, all right. She came out with Dakota Kai's foot in a chair.
Hey, now.
Dakota Kai's foot was in a chair. Dakota Kai writhing in agony. Becky had another chair in her hand. You can figure out what was going to happen.
Oh, that would have been brutal.
Yeah, so she goes, give the match or else. And Bayley's freaking out, and she goes, fine. She goes, no, I'm not giving you that. Fine. Becky raises the chair, and Bayley screams, no, fine. You've got your match. We'll have the match. And she goes, great. And your little cronies can be there too if you want. And oh, by the way, you should go check on EO in the back. And they never showed what happened to EO, but EO did tweet out that night after this occurred, quote, oh shit.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's a great way to continue that feud going on.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's going to go to Mania, but...
No, probably not.
But, in the meantime, though...
Raw must-watch TV.
Yeah, no, Raw definitely stepped the game up. And you knew it had to coming off the heels of the Royal Rumble.
Uh-huh.
So, that being said, the road to WrestleMania is on right now.
The roads to WrestleMania.
Yes. Hit us up on that hashtag ODPH pod. What is your thoughts about this year's Royal Rumble? We had the poll up on Twitter. People were giving it a C. And I don't like, everybody has an opinion, sure.
Yeah.
I think it was more of AEW bias, in my opinion, because we all thought the show was great. Talking to fellow podcasters, fellow fans, everybody came back very positive. But let us know what you thought of that. And if you want even more pro wrestling content, 607 TWS on your favorite podcast provider and Pad. There's a new blogs count anywhere out.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, actually came out with one talking about the NWA, talking about MLW has a big show if you're in the Philly area this weekend. Glory Pro Wrestling, a lot more so. For anything and everything that is that, ODPHpodcast.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sideroom Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna...
Coming back for the final segment on this week's edition of the ODPH podcast, and got to talk a little local minute, and we got a little bit of an update here, especially surrounding the Binghamton Bombers, which was the Professional Box Lacrosse Association team we had here in Binghamton. They have suspended by they I mean the entire league has suspended their remaining games in 2023. And reading from an article on WBNG.com, which is one of our local news affiliates here in the 607, it says, quote, professional lacrosse arrived in Binghamton at the end of 2022 with the Professional Box Lacrosse Association and the Binghamton Bombers. But now the league is shutting down for the rest of 2023, suspending the remainder of its inaugural season. Here is the official statement from Vice President of PBLA, Jillian Kaplan. Quote, the Professional Box Lacrosse Association announced yesterday that all remaining games across the league will be postponed as of January 31st, 2023. Season ticket holders will be contacted and will receive a full refund for the duration of the season. We made a difficult decision to postpone the remainder of the inaugural season, said owner Carmen Kesner. Our vision is to implement a fast, physical, safe, and exciting experience for our fans and players. We believe we haven't been able to create this experience, but we feel there are elements we need to improve upon. For that reason, we are halting the season to reorganize the league and to team operations. Part of that reorganization comes with the appointment of Brad Bryant, the new chief executive officer of the PBLA. Quote, I'm excited about what is in store for this league. My goal is to take Mr. Kesner's concept to the next level and create a sustainable product for years to come that both the players and the fans can be proud of, close quote. So unfortunately, if you're a fan of PBLA, I was not able to catch games down here locally because it was just, I had other stuff going on, but their season has wrapped up for the season. I've been hearing some rumors as to why it was or why it wasn't. A rumor I'd heard was one of the primary financial backers had pulled out, which if that's the case, that's certainly going to hurt you in an inaugural season. But unfortunately, as of this recording, no more PBLA games coming forward.
Yeah, it's sad to hear. I was hearing a lot of rumors about that as well, too. So, it's tough, but hopefully they can come back and bounce back and, put on a better season next year.
Yeah. And then switching over to the Federal Prospects Hockey League, which is the minor professional hockey league that our local Binghamton Blackberries play in. Looking at the division standings, still in second place behind Danbury. Danbury is in first place with a record of 24 wins, 4 losses in overtime or shootout. And then Binghamton's in second place with a record of 22 wins, 7 losses, and 2 losses in overtime or shootout. Looking at their schedule from this past week, they had 2 two games. One on Friday, January 27th, which was against the Danbury Hat Tricks, where they won by the final score of 6-2. And then they had a game on the road Saturday, January 28th, which was against the Delaware Thunder, where they won by the final score of 4-2. So they got a nice little 3-game winning streak going on. Looking ahead to their games they have this coming week, they've got a game on Friday, February 3rd at 7 o'clock Eastern against the Delaware Thunder. That is at home at Division's Veterans Memorial Arena. And then they've got another game on Saturday, February 4th, 7 o'clock Eastern, also at home against the Delaware Thunder. So for more tickets, information, and all that good stuff, BinghamtonBlackBears.com.
All right, and we also got mentioned Binghamton Bulldogs, still number 1 in the ABA rankings.
Hey!
Yeah, so, and if you are living locally, the last home game is this Saturday night as they take on the Central Jersey Sharks, 7:05 start time, BinghamtonBulldogs.com for more information, or their Facebook page, which they are extremely active about.
Mm-hmm. And then I've got to mention a little bit of soccer, professional soccer, European soccer, because this one came across my phone as I was doing some laundry today. I said, hey, this is kind of cool. And that is from reading it from an article on ESPN.com. Leicester has signed forward Opaku out of Syracuse.
Oh.
Yeah, so Leicester City have signed, reading from the article, Leicester City have signed forward Nathan Opaku, most recently of Syracuse University, the club announced on Tuesday. Opaku, 21, has been immediately loaned to Belgian side OH11, the sister club of Leicester, due to having a common owner in travel retail company King Power. A native of Accra, Ghana, Opaku moved to the U.S. ahead of the 2021 collegiate season, playing for Lindsey Wilson, an NAIA school based in Columbia, Kentucky. He went on to score 19 goals in 19 games before transferring to Syracuse. Prior to the 2022 collegiate season, Opaku played for the Ventura County Fusion in USL League 2, which occupies the fourth tier in the U.S. soccer system. Opaku scored 11 goals in 16 games and playoff appearances and led Ventura County to the League 2 title, scoring in the final. Opaku continued his knack for scoring critical goals with the Orange. He started the season on the wing, but quickly formed a devastating strike partnership with Levante Johnson on his way to 11 goals in 8 assists, including a tally in the NCAA final, which the Orange won on penalties over Indiana University. Quote, he's a strong player, an intelligent player, holds the ball up really well, and that was something that impressed, said Syracuse head coach Ian McIntyre about Opaku. He has very good feet, he's powerful, he's quick. But what really impressed us was his ability to be a link player for us and really complemented Levante Johnson's pace in behind. So a very smart player, which I think surprised a few players, but he scored some big goals for us and has the ability to create space in the box. He's quite elusive with his movement, close quote. So, hey, guy who was playing here in the Northeast not too long ago, going overseas to play in the Premier League.
Okay, you can't fault him on that, man. That's an awesome accomplishment.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Absolutely. For me, one shots, it's All-Star Weekend for the NHL.
Hey.
Which is perfect, so I won't have to scream at my TV and watch the Rangers play. I do love that fact, but if you're looking for more hockey action this weekend as the teams are taking their break, February 3rd and 4th, live from Florida, so they're down playing the home of the Panthers. They'll be taking the skills test and obviously the game going on as well, too, on Sunday, or the 4th, I would say.
Okay.
So, it's always a good time to, recharge the batteries, and recharging means they have a nice lengthy break. I know our beloved Rangers are off now until February 6th, so that definitely helps matters. Third in the Metropolitan Division, which I will take a record of 27-14-8, and was it 62 points?
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
I'll take that at this stage. Carolina's the one throwing me off though. 32-9.
Oh,
72 points.
goddamn.
Fact Jersey's out of us. It's not sitting well, but hey,
Well, I heard Boston's doing real well.
Boston is 38-7.
Goddamn.
Yeah, they're playing like a team possessed. 81 points already.
Yeah, get all your wins out of the way now. Don't have any in the playoffs.
Yeah, hey, let them have it bad. I know even Buffalo's hanging around there, but then again, they're like the Mets. They have a good start of the season, and they fade off.
Hey.
I know. I'm going to catch a lot of heat for that one.
Yeah, you are.
What?
Hey, listen, we got to give credit to the Rangers. I saw they called that kid up, and then he scored a goal, the first game?
Yeah, no, Rangers finally got it together, so I know they've been making some moves. I know when Trouba really got in everybody's face, that definitely helped matters, and they've been a different team since. So I do like seeing that out of them. They're showing a lot more heart, and they're going to need to if they're going to make a run in the playoffs, which, barring any cataclysmic injury, they should make a deep run. I mean, me as an obnoxious Rangers fan, I'm already calling her shot for the cup. But it's going to be tough this year, especially if Carolina can actually score some goals in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, let's face it, that was their problem last year. Anything is possible. So I will say, if your hockey team is doing all right, it's a good time to be a fan. If you're near the bottom of the league, and we're talking about Columbus and Montreal, probably not the best time of year, but it is what it is, folks. Mm-hmm. And the All-Star game is always fun. Like, you never go in there thinking it's going to be anything serious.
Defense optional.
Exactly. Like I say,
until the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, like for anybody that's expecting anything more, like I always stress it, like why would you expect anything crazy in an All-Star game? Like people are hitting each other and like really checking. Mm-hmm. Like no, you're not going to have that at all. You just enjoy it for the finesse. It's the fun moment. You see your favorite players team up for the first time, and in some cases, and that's all you need to do for it. So that said, make sure you're following the NHL.com for more information on events going on. And if you're in the Florida area there, it's Sunrise, Florida, go check out this the weekend going on. It'll be a fun time had by all.
Yeah. And lastly, and certainly not leastly, we do have to mention that in the show note description of this episode, there will be a link to the Tyree Nichols Memorial Fund. Of course, Tyree Nichols is the gentleman who was brutally murdered, because let's face it, that's what it is. That was a murder that took place down in Memphis on January 7th of 2023. The officers, 5 of the officers involved in that have been fired. I know yesterday there was a 6th one placed on, connected to it, that was placed on administrative leave, but the other 5 officers have been fired. But there is a link in the show notes to the GoFundMe that will directly support the family. Currently, as we record, there is $1,309,850 raised, which if you're sitting there saying, hey, well, $1.3 million, that's enough. No, like even if you don't have the ability to share it or to contribute to it, share it. Every little bit helps, because I'll be honest, until you mentioned this to me, I had no idea this was even up or available for this. The money goes directly to support the family, because the parents, they work 9 to 5 jobs, they don't have unlimited paid time off, and they want to build a memorial skate park for their son in his honor, for his love of skating and sunsets. So every little bit will go to help his family for this senseless act and this brutal murder, because like I said, that's what it was. The video is out there if you want to go see it. I do not recommend.
No, I refuse to watch it.
I watched it. I do not recommend watching it. But if you're feeling bold enough, do you? But every little bit in this donation and for this fund will help.
I refuse to watch it just because I can't handle the fact that we're in this day and age where this shit happens. Mm-hmm. And you're exactly right. It was a murder, and I can't pull myself to watch it.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine what his family's going through.
Yeah,
I can't.
It's awful.
Yeah. So obviously, our heartfelt condolences go out to his family and friends, and we have the link on odphpodcast.com. It's right on the front page.
Yep.
So if you have the ability to donate.
Like I said, even if you can't donate because, hey, money's tight, you lost one of your jobs. Totally understand. You don't have to contribute money to help with this fund. Sharing works wonders, because like I said, until Ken mentioned that there was a GoFundMe, I had no idea this existed. So sharing helps get the word out, and helps let people know who might have that ability to donate find out about it.
Yeah, no, and I definitely give a shout out to our guy JT from Beyond the Fandom. He lives in Memphis. And obviously, this hit him very close. Obviously, that's his hometown.
Right, yeah.
So, like I say, he sent up the link, so we definitely want to make sure we're doing our part to get this out there. And,
it's just horrible.
Yeah, it's absolutely sickening that we still live in this day and age where this shit happens. And it needs to stop. And, yeah.
Thoughts and prayers with the family.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing we can really say at this point. But it's just like it's so
it's awful.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, folks. I'm trying to find nice words to say that are professional, just about like the fact that this is another incident of just fucking bullshit.
Kid was on his way home. Wasn't armed, wasn't smuggling anything. Was just on his way home.
Yeah.
And got approached by these five officers and was. I saw the description of, from the lawyer for the family, where he said, after they were showing the video, and the lawyer said he was beaten like a piñata. you know, and I was like, really? I was like, that seems a little extreme, you know, is that really the case? And then I saw the video, I'm like, oh no, that's absolutely the case.
Yeah, like I said, I can't pull myself to watch it. Like I said,
I don't recommend it for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, if you're of strong enough, you know, stuff that you can, hey, do it on your own time.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not recommending it.
No, like I said, I refuse to because I can't sit there and watch somebody get murdered like that. Like, I'm sorry, that's just no. But we're just trying to, I guess, just to close this up because I'm gonna get more emotional about this. If you can donate. At the very least, share the link. We have it right on the homepage. So, you know, our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family.
Yeah.
And we will just say, in closing, you know, thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast. And then thank you for tolerating my Scotty Farrell voice. I will hope it will get better by next week. Fingers crossed. But thank you to Padawan Jay for doing what he does, taking over the lead role.
Hey, you're welcome.
And making me sound somewhat decent. So I'm not going always shake it up. Like a true Scotty Farrell or Wolfman Jack voice. I can't really tell which one I've been told. I've been have both. So, I don't know, Pat. You tell me.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but either way, we thank you for listening and supporting the show. It truly means the absolute world to us. And thank you again, and we will see you next time.
Gotta be down to the punch. Gotta be down to the punch. 'Cause they can't bring